Thank you so much, Dinesh, for joining us on the show today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Lolo. I'm so happy to be here.
It's my pleasure. I'm super excited as well for us to have this conversation. Can you share with us why it was difficult for you to accept that you didn't want to have kids? And why also do you not want to have kids?
All right. I think that to answer the second question first, I don't want to have kids because I don't want to be anyone's primary caregiver. Being a parent is a very difficult job. And I believe that unless someone is very, very sure that they're willing to do it to the best of their abilities on the good days and the bad days, then they have no business bringing children into this world. Because, like we know, children are an oppressed class. So, if you're going to say, okay, I'm going to bring someone who I know is an oppressed class, who I know will be fully dependent on me into the world, and I will do my best for them, then I don't think you should have kids because it's a big deal. It's another human being. It's a very big deal. So the reason why I felt like I couldn't express that or that my desire not to be a parent was wrong is that from the time we're born, you're raised being told, oh, grow up, go to school, get married, have kids. It's like a step in everyone's path. So it's only later that I realized that it's not a compulsory step. You don't have to. If you don't have kids, you won't like spontaneously combust. It's fine. It's an option. So once I learned that it was an option, I was relieved because now my desires in my heart to not be a parent were, how can I say, they were validated. So now I knew there was nothing wrong with me. It's just not everyone has to be a parent, and that's okay.
And now I'm curious though, when did you realize that you did not want to have kids? Was it something you've always known since you were a child, or was it something you became aware of as you gained some level of consciousness of how the world operates? When was that, and when did you know?
I think I knew I didn't want to have kids when I was young, like maybe 15. I just knew this is probably not for me. But it's only as I became older and got more exposed to the systemic injustices against parents, got exposed to how much more it means for a woman, particularly in this world, to have a child. That was like, wait a minute, my desire not to have kids, it's not childish. It's not something that I'll grow out of. It's valid, and the world is also very hostile to mothers. So if I do something that I don't want to, and it's going to be hard because the world is against it, then I will regret it because not only have I done something that I didn't want to do to begin with, but I've done it in probably a very unsupportive time because the world hates parents. The world does not make space for children. So now I'm suffering because I made the decision I didn't want, and also suffering because the world is anti children and anti parents. So it's only as I got older that I was like, you know what? This decision of yours actually has some merit to it, even outside like personal feelings.
Yeah. Do you think though, I mean, and of course I have to ask the question that the public is asking. Do you think that as you with time, because the only thing constant in life is change, and with the medical interventions that we have from IVF and surrogacy and the rest, do you feel like if you get to a level in your life where maybe things are a bit calm, you would be open to the option of now becoming a mother? Because one of the reasons why you said is the injustice and the inability to take care of an oppressed class. Do you think if you have the capacity to take care of them, you would change your mind?
No, because right now I feel like I do have the capacity. Financially, I have a decent job. I don't have a lot of responsibilities. Like, literally, my money is just for me to eat. I could accommodate another small person. Like, really, I think I'd make really cute babies if I ever chose, but that's not the point. So it's not just about the money because it takes more than money to raise a child. Do I want to wake up in the middle of the night because my child has a fever? Do I want to have a talk with my child about how much they might be sexually assaulted because the world is full of pedophiles? Do I want to set boundaries with relatives who have beliefs that are different from me in order to protect my child? Like, do I want to go to PTA meetings and make brownies? I do not want to do that. And I don't think I will want to do the biology or the money. That's not, for me, that's not the point. I just don't want to be a parent.
How did your family respond to that? When you say you don't want to have kids, how do your family respond to that?
Well, initially my dad was a bit apprehensive because it's not a traditional choice. It's just in the same way when I was a kid, I thought I had to grow up, go to school, get married. My dad thought my kids have to grow up, go to school, get married. But with time, when I showed him that no, if I do get children or if I do have a long-term committed partnership with a man, these are the things I'll have to sacrifice, and I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. He started to understand, and I was very supportive. My siblings who have kids are very supportive because they are not like they're realistic. They're like, you know what, it's hard. If you don't want to do it, it's fine because we love it, but it's not easy. So there's no reason to do it unless you're really, really certain.
I would like to know what is the most empowering aspect of living child free, of living a life that is not dictated by society's expectations and norms? What's the best thing about it for you?
I think for me, my time belongs to me. Even if I wake up today and decide to quit my job and go back home and live off my father's pension, because no one is dependent on me, that is something I can do. If I decide that I want to sleep the entire weekend, there is no one who will die because I didn't feed them. So my time is mine. I am so free. I can literally, if I can get the time off from work, I can literally wake up, go away for 2 weeks. I don't even own a plant. I don't even have to ask someone to water my plant. It's just I'll get my bag and go. So having free time is amazing. And especially in my 30s, because now my things are starting to shape up. My money is starting to come together. I'm older and better mentally. Like, I don't have a lot of money, but definitely more than I had when I was 22. So it's like now I can have the 20s I deserved. I don't know if that makes sense, that I'm having the 20s I deserved in my 30s. And still, I am so happy. I don't want to lie. I wish I could say, oh my gosh, I'm so broody. If oh, no, I am happy. I am having the time of my life. And I cannot imagine that bringing a child into my situation would make it any better. I don't think so. Yes.
I love listening to you, and I love the conviction in your voice. I tell you. And
Oh,
what would you say to people who say things like because you're talking about how lovely your life and how happy you are and the freedom
mhm.
you get. But people talk about how, if you don't have a child, your life isn't meaningful. If you don't have a child, you're going to be so lonely. If you don't want to have a child,
Okay.
you're not going to find someone who's going to date you. You're not going to get married. How do you
Mhm.
respond to some of those utterances?
Well, I think the main thing is there's a song I've been listening to from the series Heartstopper. That song is beautiful. So it's by this woman called Baby Queen. She's a South African artist in the UK, whatever. And it talks about how she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad because my life is devoid of meaning. And then someone came to her and told her that if your life is devoid of meaning, it means you have total freedom. You can do what you want because it's meaningless anyway. So it's not like, oh, my life is devoid of meaning. It doesn't matter. Yes, it doesn't matter. So you can do what you want. It doesn't matter, literally. So if life is generally devoid of meaning, having kids won't make it suddenly have meaning. So yeah, I don't think our lives should be this big thing or this big monument. You're here for 5 seconds, you die, you go, whether or not you have kids. It doesn't matter. So at least spend the little time you have, because also you don't know. Someone say, "Oh, have kids so they take care of you when you're old." Who told you that you will grow old? What if you die next week? Like it's very audacious to think you'll get to 80. We have COVID, we have climate change. It's a miracle that the world is still there despite everything going on. So if your children are the only thing giving your life meaning, I am sorry for those babies because they deserve a parent who's present and who's freed from those shackles of, oh my gosh, all I live for is my babies. Live for yourself. And I think people would be better parents if they lived for themselves instead of putting all the pressure on their kids. So my life has no meaning, but I believe nothing has meaning. So it doesn't matter. I'm not crushed about it.
Story. Again,
Um,
I really love the conviction in your voice. And I know the other
Thank
women who are
you.
watching the story are also going to
Yeah.
love your conviction. Thank you so much, Tinashe.
No, no, no. Thank you so much. And if I might add, one thing that helps me have conviction is hanging out with older women who are in the same situation as me. So if someone is like 46 and not married and and they're not sad or miserable, it gives me hope that I have at least another 15 years. So Yeah, thank you for having me. This was lovely.
Thank you so much, Tinashe.